pirate boat tries to board the vessel. And that's the response.
The UK has once again proven how efficiently it continues to eliminate pirate threats in the open ocean. And it starts with the summer of 2025. A British warship cuts across the Arabian Sea. On the horizon, tiny specks appear, fast-moving skiffs, closing in on a merchant vessel. Within minutes, the situation turns hostile. Pirates armed with rifles and RPGs attempt to board. But this time, things don't go their way. From the deck of HMS Richmond, a Royal Navy frigate, a helicopter lifts off. Warning shots echo across the waves. Marines launch in fast boats surrounding the attackers. And in a matter of minutes, the pirates are disarmed, their weapons seized, and their skiffs destroyed. This isn't a movie. It's one of the most decisive anti-piracy operations the Royal Navy has carried out in years. And it sent a message. Britain may have fewer ships than before, but it still knows how to rule the waves. The drama of skiffs and warships is gripping enough, but the real story is why this matters. The Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden are not just patches of water. They are the arteries of global trade. Every single day, oil tankers from the Gulf, container ships from East Asia, and freighters bound for Europe sail these routes. If anything blocks them, pirates, militias, even a single hijacked tanker, the ripple effects spread everywhere. Fuel prices in London spike. Supermarket shelves in Africa run empty. Insurance premiums for shipping skyrocket. For years, Somali pirates were the nightmare of these seas. In the early 2010s, they hijacked dozens of ships, held crews hostage, and raked in millions in ransom. It got so bad that at one point in 2011, more than 700 sailors were being held captive off the Somali coast. International patrols brought the numbers down, but piracy never fully disappeared. And in 2023 and 2024, the threat crept back. Kidnappings, hijackings, attempted boardings, all rising again. That's when Britain decided to show up. At first glance, some thought the UK was pulling away from this region. HMS Lancaster, a veteran frigate, had been withdrawn. Some argued that Britain's navy was stretched too thin to still matter in the Indian Ocean. But then came HMS Richmond, a Type 23 frigate, bristling with sensors, armed with Sea Scepter missiles, and carrying its own Wildcat helicopter. HMS Richmond set sail from Duqm, Oman, on a new tasking in mid-2025. With her was a detachment of Royal Marines and a set of drones capable of scanning vast stretches of ocean. Only weeks into her patrol and the chance came. Reports came in that the pirate skiffs had been spotted shadowing a bulk carrier 400 nautical miles off the Somali coast. The pirates had rifles, even an RPG launcher. They were moving fast. For the ship's crew, it was a nightmare unfolding in real time. For HMS Richmond, it was the moment they had been waiting for. The frigate closed in. The helicopter was airborne within minutes, swooping low to cut off the pirate boats. The Marines prepared for boarding. Over loudspeakers came the warning. "Heave to, drop your weapons." The pirates ignored the first call, circling, shouting, raising their rifles. But then the frigate fired warning shots, splashes exploding just feet from the skiff. That was enough. Engines stalled, arms went up, but the drama didn't end there. Boarding teams launched in rigid inflatable boats, skimming across the waves. They surrounded the skiffs, Marines climbing aboard with weapons ready. In minutes, the pirates were disarmed, shackled, and pulled aboard HMS Richmond. The haul was shocking. AK-47s, machine guns, even an RPG tube. Evidence that these weren't just desperate fishermen. They were organized, armed, and ready to seize a ship worth hundreds of millions. And this time, they didn't melt back into Somalia. This time, they were in Royal Navy custody.
Fire one ready.
In one sense, this was just a successful raid. But strategically, it was about something much bigger. Nearly 90% of the world's goods still move by sea, and much of that passes right through these waters. Every time pirates hijack a vessel, insurance premiums skyrocket, ships reroute thousands of miles, food and fuel prices spike. In a fragile global economy, one small skiff can cause chaos that echoes across continents. That's why the UK's actions hit so hard. It wasn't just about saving one ship. It was about reminding the world that Britain still stands guard, even far from home waters. And yes, the Royal Navy is smaller than it was. Yes, the Americans have more ships, the Indians are rising, and the French patrol their colonies. But the UK just proved it can still arrive, strike fast, and get results. For the sailors on board that merchant vessel, the rescue was a survival. Imagine being unarmed on a slow-moving ship, watching armed men in skiffs racing towards you. You can't outrun them. You can't outfight them. Your only hope is that someone out there hears your distress call. The Wildcat helicopter swooping low overhead was the sound of hope for the crew below. It was the sound of rescue. Some later said they had prepared for the worst, to be taken to Somalia, held for ransom maybe for months. Instead, they watched the pirates surrender and were freed within hours. This is what anti-piracy patrol really means. Not abstract strategy, but saving lives, reuniting the abducted crew with their families, and keeping the global grade flowing like normal. The impact wasn't just military, it was political. Within days, statements came from across the region. Gulf states thanked the UK for protecting merchant ships. Even shipping companies that once relied heavily on American or Indian patrols praised the Royal Navy's quick response. What's more ironic is the fact that just months ago, analysts questioned whether Britain had the will or the means to keep policing the high seas. Some pointed to the withdrawal of HMS Lancaster as proof that London was pulling back, but HMS Richmond's mission flipped the narrative. It showed that Britain doesn't need dozens of ships in the region, just one, properly equipped, with the right crew and the will to act. And the addition of Britain's new surveillance ship, RFA Proteus, proves that the UK is adapting and not retreating. There's also history at play. This isn't the first time Britain has fought pirates. In the 19th century, the Royal Navy waged war against the Barbary Corsairs, who preyed on European shipping in the Mediterranean. Back then, just like now, it wasn't only about sailors. It was about commerce, trade, and national prestige. The message was the same. Britain protects its shipping, and by extension, Britain protects global trade. In many ways, HMS Richmond's operation in 2025 was a modern echo of the same mission. The tools have changed, drones, helicopters, radar, but the principle remains. Secure the seas. Of course, piracy hasn't vanished. The latest maritime reports still warn of hijacking attempts across the Indian Ocean. In June, Yemeni fishing boats were taken. In the Gulf of Guinea, on the other side of Africa, pirate attacks remain brutal and frequent. The lesson is simple. Piracy ebbs and flows, but it never disappears. Whenever patrols ease or navies get distracted, the gangs return. But what Britain showed in 2025 is that piracy is not unstoppable. That when a modern navy commits, the pirates don't stand a chance. Against drones, warships, helicopters, and Royal Marines, small skiffs with rifles are outmatched, and every time a nation like the UK steps in, it raises the cost of piracy and lowers its rewards.